Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today we are diving into the Scorpio new moon, which is happening on November 4th, and it's happening at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's also happening at 12 degrees, okay? Now, when you mix the intensity of an energy like Scorpio with the moon, which is very emotional, very intuitive, very into, your emotions and all of that stuff, you mix that depth and intensity with emotions, it is always going to be like a very emotionally charged or triggering time for a lot of folks, right? But this moon in particular is even more so triggering just because of the transits or the story that is playing out during the time that the new moon is going to be in the sign of Scorpio, okay? So when I say highly triggering, what are some of the things that we're talking about? There's a highlight on confrontation. There's also a highlight on overcoming differences and using creativity to come up with some solutions around some of the differences that are presenting themselves during this time, all right? And when I say that the moon is at 12 degrees, I mention that because we always want to look at the degrees that the moon is at, because that also gives further clues into kind of what the themes or the things that will play out in terms of energy with this new moon. So with the moon at 12 degrees, the numerology that is associated with that is a number 3, because 1 + 2 is equals to 3. So this is a very creative number in terms of energy. It comes up with solutions, ideas, really a blend of creativity and communication, okay? So when I talk about overcoming difficulties and coming up with solutions, we're going to be seeing that we're going to have to be leaning on the vibration of the number 3, where this moon is sitting at 12 degrees, in order to bring in some of that into the mix, okay? Now, when the moon is in Scorpio, we talked about the depth and intensity, but when the moon is here, it's said to be at its fall. Why? Because the opposite is when the moon is exalted is in the sign of Taurus, and Scorpio and Taurus are polarity. So they're exactly opposite each other on the zodiac wheel. They are polar opposite in energy. So if the moon is said to be exalted in the sign of Taurus, then it falls in Scorpio. Just because it falls in the sign of Scorpio does not mean weak. It is very, very strong still in this placement. It's just because the energy with Scorpio is so intense that it can just bring very much extremes across the board in terms of like your emotions and a lot of the things that you deal with internally. So that's why it's said to be in its fall, just because it's so intense and it can be so extreme and very challenging, but it is very, very powerful still in the sign of Scorpio. So do not sleep on this moon energy. You definitely don't want to sleep on it, okay? So this energy, when the moon is in the sign of Scorpio, it definitely helps us dive to the depths, right? Scorpio is everything deep. We're going beneath the subconscious. We are pulling things up to the surface, and things that have been hidden, things that have been buried come bubbling up. It's really the challenge is, how do you deal with that when those emotions, when those revelations, when those things that have been the lies, the things that have been, covered up, when they come to the surface, what is your reaction to it? That's really the challenge. And the reaction part is the challenge, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars, right? So the intensity of those two planets is like really a lot, okay? So what you have here is intense emotional extremes, okay? This transit can bring out, when the moon is in Scorpio, it can bring out the best in people, because it can unearth things that can help, that can heal, that can solve, that can help you see your way through. But it can bring out the worst in people, because some of those intensities can translate to the lower vibrations of Scorpio's energy, which is about power, domination, obsession, jealousy, compulsion, manipulation. Some of the worst qualities that you can find in individuals can come up here. So like I said, extremes is definitely something that we're going to be seeing and wanting to watch for while the moon is here, okay? On the positive side though, this energy can make us highly determined. It's very loyal. It's really about achievement, wants to achieve greatness, wants to get things done and accomplished. So if you lean on that side of the energy, along with what we talked about with the numerology 3, that creativity, that communication, there's a lot that can be accomplished under this moon energy. But again, you have to lean into those qualities because the other side is very, very present. And with some of the other transits that are happening, those can kind of outweigh in terms of presentation, the positives, all right? The new moon in general, if you're new to working with moon energy, this is a time of two things. When the moon is dark on, before it starts gaining its light, this is a time where you can release, right? And let go of things and purge things and transform things. But this is also a time, new moon is a time where you can plant new things, put your seeds in the ground, set intentions. So I have an entire video where I talk about how to work with the dark moon or the new moon, depending on what side of the energy you want to get on. So I'm gonna go ahead and link that video here. It'll probably be somewhere up above or down in the description box so that you can use as a resource. And it also helps you set your intentions, AKA planting those seeds, okay, for manifestation and everything like that. So check that video out if you have not seen it, okay? I will say that in order to really dive into like the aspects of what area of life, like, is this, showing up for me? Like, what area of life do I need to focus on releasing something in, or planting new seeds in, or transforming? You definitely want to go ahead and pull up your natal and transit chart. And I always leave that link down in the description box below as well. And you want to go ahead and put in your information. You also want to go ahead and put in the time and the date that this new moon will be happening. And then you want to see what house this new moon is falling for you, because when the new moon is happening, you are having an alignment. I am so tongue-tied today, I'm sorry. You are having an alignment of the sun and the moon that align in one particular house. Like they're joined together, they're aligned. They're like, okay, we are doubling down, zero in, focusing. Our internal and our external needs are focusing in this one particular area of life. And that's what the houses are. It's areas or lessons of life. So definitely go ahead and check that out so that you can get more guidance on what this means for you personally. But we're going to talk about what does this mean for us collectively? What can we do with this energy collectively? And that is where we are getting into the transit. So how can we use this energy in a broader sense? What do we need to focus on? And to understand that, we got to really get into breaking down the transits that are happening, which is those aspects that the moon is going to be making with some of the other planets, to really see the story that is playing out, okay? So one of the biggest stories that is playing out is the moon having conflict or being exactly opposite Uranus and Taurus. Now, we talked a bit earlier about the polarities, right? The polarities of energy. Scorpio and Taurus are exactly opposite energies, both very important and needed and necessary to achieve balance. But when they are opposite each other, with the moon being in Scorpio, the sun and moon being in Scorpio aligned, and then also Uranus being exactly opposite at 12 degrees in Taurus, we have a conflict happening here, okay? They just have two different agendas, okay? Now, with this, Uranus and Taurus, we have to understand that Uranus and Taurus is an aggravation. Just because Taurus is a sign that is all about holding on to tradition, moving at its own speed, taking things slow, doesn't really like change, but if it's gonna change, it's like, let me do it on my own time, let me adapt to it on my own time, it's very slow, very methodical, very traditional. Uranus is everything opposite. Unexpected change, just revelations, let's get it done, advancement, movement, it's just completely opposite, and it's just very uncomfortable there. So with this conflict or this opposition that is happening, we have Uranus that's already aggravating, right? Because Taurus is just slowing it down. But we have unexpected changes, things that feel out of our control, causing us to get into the Scorpio energy, or the emotional side, creating emotional extremes. So outburst, impulsiveness, mood swings, overall chaos, just because there are things that feel out of our control. There are unexpected things, and we just want to feel a sense of control and comfort and like, you know what I mean, during that process. And that's just not happening. And in addition, Uranus and Taurus has been really at tension all year long, all 2021, with Saturn, having 3 specific showdown, which was 3 exact points where they will meet each other. We've already been through 2 of them, and we're gearing up for another one on December 24th. Okay, so this tension, what we're feeling with Saturn in Aquarius, who wants to help us build new structures and stuff, and Uranus and Taurus, who is trying to get, you know, us to break out of the old, is that we're having a fight between the old and the new, right? You have the old wanting to hold on, you have the new wanting to come in, and both are just not budging, okay? Because we're talking about fixed energies. This is all fixed energies. Aquarius is fixed, you know, Taurus is fixed, Scorpio is fixed. So everybody's firmly rooted in their position and nobody wants to budge, okay? So this battle between the old and the new has been playing out against revolution versus tradition. We've seen it on the world stage. We feel it. We know it's happening. But this is a part of the aggravation and, like I said, the triggering that is going to be happening during the time of this new moon. All of this energy is going to be deeply felt, okay? So the moon squaring Saturn in Aquarius, again, is adding to that tension here. So this is also stirring up negative and pessimistic emotions, okay? Because of the restriction and the lack of control that we feel, going back to that control piece, okay? So here, it's really easy with this transit to slip into, or this aspect that's happening, into the negative side of Scorpio's energy when we talk about those lower vibrations of the Scorpion, which is the obsession, the manipulation, this, you know, striking back, you know, just really when you feel threatened, just completely like off with their head type of energy. So definitely that vindictiveness, all of the manipulation, any of those like underhanded tactics are definitely something that this can really promote during this time. Like, that's why I said we have to really lean into the positive sides of everything. You can find yourself in a rotten mood around this time. You can find other people in a rotten mood with that vindictive, manipulative energy. So just protect yourself during this time and make sure that you're staying in the right vibration, okay? Now, one thing I will say we can utilize under this Scorpio moon is the ability to use our intuition. And I want to read it exactly how I wrote it, which is the ability to use our intuition and our creativity to come up with solutions for any of the underlying issues, things beneath the surface that need to come up and be addressed, right? So the supportive aspects of the moon, in terms of what it's making in its conversation to Pluto and Neptune, because it will be sextiling Pluto, which is an ease of communication there, and it's going to be trining Neptune, all right? So there comes in some supportive energy that can help us lean into those positive qualities of problem solving, creativity, coming up with solutions, and really healing certain situations, all right? So for the herbs and the crystals, I'm definitely going to recommend ones around protection, just because the energy, like I said, is going to be so triggering during this time. I feel like protection is one of the biggest things that I want to help you. So with protection, intuition, and definitely this is a time where you can get into shadow work. So the herbs that I would recommend are rosemary, yarrow, passionflower. The crystals that I would recommend are labradorite, your black variety stones like jet, black obsidian. Black obsidian is great, and it's great for shadow work, but it does pull out some, you know, some extremes in some people, so you got to be careful with that one. And if you can get your hands on Moldavite, when I talk about transformation and you talk about doing shadow work, this is definitely one of the stones that I would recommend you working with. But again, it is a heavy hitter. If you're gonna use a piece, get a really, really small piece, or like, you know, take breaks from it, because it can be intense as well. All right, so let's get into the rituals. Some of the rituals that I would recommend First, because this is the dark moon, then this is the Scorpio moon. It's a time of intensity and protection and releasing and banishment. So anything like where you want to release, banish certain things, eliminate. So we're talking about if it's bad or destructive character traits, habits, anything that you're doing personally, if it is aligned to people or situations that you're in that display those things, any of the negative traits that we've been talking about, the manipulation, the jealousy, the obsession, anything like that. These are the times, this is the time where you can release that. This is also great for protection. So setting your protection spells, candle magic, anything that you want to do to set protections around yourself, and you know, that will be great for that too. This is also great for cleansing, and especially if you're using this on the darker side of the moon before it starts to actually start increasing in light. So again, watch my other video in order to get more information on that. The second thing I would recommend underneath this is definitely transformation, because, you know, one of the symbols of Scorpio's energy is the phoenix, which is the highest vibration and form of Scorpio's energy, which is all about transformation, right? And it's a constantly transforming energy and helping you evolve and grow into your highest self. So anything that you can set intentions wise for, you know, transformation in any particular areas of your life, again, go back to your transit chart. Your natal and transit chart in order to get an idea of what particular area that means for you. That would be great for you as well. Then I would also recommend sacral chakra healing, because sacral chakra is really tied to the energy of Scorpio and the sex and reproductive organs, which Scorpio rules over. So this is definitely going to help you with expressing sexuality, creativity, helps you form deep, intimate connections. Also, you know, sparks your passion, and it also helps you if you have a bad relationship to money. So if you need to heal some of your relations with money, if it's poor, then this is a good thing to work on, okay? And then the last thing I would say, because Scorpio's energy is so determined and so fixated on achievement, this is a great time for intention setting in terms of goals, or, you know, basically revamping old goals, revisiting them, and, you know, really working on that. So those are the rituals that I would recommend in terms of setting intentions or otherwise, protection, cleansing, anything like that. I would like to know who is a Scorpio moon here, because I know you are feeling this energy. I know that this is going to be very activating for you personally, even though it's triggering for all of us in certain ways. It is very activating for you personally. So all my Scorpio moons, leave me a comment down below, okay? And if you don't have moon in Scorpio, let me know what area of the chart does Scorpio rule for you. And I hope that you found this information helpful and that you can utilize this energy and the positive aspects of it and not get wrapped up into the lower vibrations of it, because those are definitely going to be challenging us during this time, okay? So I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and have a good new moon. Happy setting your intentions or doing your rituals or whatever you choose to do during this time, okay? Have a good one. Peace.